Oh howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it is time for some Path of Exile discussion. Patch 3.23 is now 3 weeks away, and usually 3 weeks before a league starts, we go into spoiler season. We don't know exactly how this is going to play out in patch 3.23, and that's because Bex, who'd been the public face of the spoiler season, has resigned from Grinding Gear Games and taken up a position at another gaming company. So there's internal changes, and that may result in a change to how teaser season works. We'll be able to work that out over the next week or two. But what we did get on day one of traditional teaser season is some clarification on what's going to be happening when the Trials of the Ancestors expansion ends and as we start moving over to patch 3.23. So Trials of the Ancestors will not be going core in patch 3.23. That's the main focus of this announcement. This announcement also includes the time the Ancestor League ends, and you can see that in your time zone if you click the link down in the description below to the Grinding Gear Games site. At this point, 3 things will happen. Firstly, your characters, your Atlas progress, your stash tabs and the like will be removed from the Ancestor League and they'll be migrated over into the Standard League. Or if you're playing with some of the hard modes, like maybe you're playing in Ancestor Solo Self-Found or maybe you're playing in Ancestor Ruthless, then this progress will be migrated into the relevant permanent league. You'll still be able to play that character again in the future if you're interested in doing so. Most Path of Exile players tend to walk away from characters when they reach Standard, but you don't have to follow what most people do. You're free to make up your own mind as to whether you play in the 323 Affliction League, or whether you keep playing your Standard characters, or whether you do a mix of the two. Now the big one. Omens, Tattoos, Hinakora's Locks. All of these are going to go Legacy. They're going to continue to exist in the various permanent leagues, but they're going to become more scarce over time as they get used up. In the short term, there's going to be none re-entering the league economy. Now in Ancestor Softcore Trade Enabled, this has already set off a flurry of trade speculation there. You're starting to see Omens going up in price, Tattoos in particular going up in price, and as for Hinakora's Locks, they already had been going up in price in anticipation of this decision being made. The third announcement is that all of the Ancestor exclusive uniques will be added to the core drop pool with the exception of 2. I want to have a quick recap of those 2 uniques, but for the items that are being added, I would expect they're going to be added at a wide variety of rarity tiers. Eutula's Hunger is a much more common item than Rakiata's Dance or Marta's Teaching are, and it wouldn't surprise me if an item like Rakiata's Dance ends up as a tier 1 rarity unique, and an item like Eutula's Hunger ends up as a tier 3 or 4 unique. And if you're interested in what these rarity tiers are, there's been some pretty big breakthroughs this year on working out exactly how Grinding Gear Games' rarity tiers work, and I'm going to be putting a video out on that in the next few days. Anyways, let's take a quick look at the 2 that are not going to be going core. There is Honored Alliance, which is a coral ring that almost no one is using, and for fairly good reason. This grants life as you would expect for a coral ring, a small amount of attributes, a small amount of mana regenerate, and a small amount of damage taken recouped as life. But it also grants you a 10% chance to cast one of the Loyalty Tattoo spirits when you kill a monster. These Loyalty Tattoos are very strong effects, but they just don't have all that much uptime. As a result, this has not been a very popular item, and it is found on exactly 2 level 100 characters in the Ancestor Softcore Trade Enabled League. That said, if you're a collector or a completionist, you're probably going to want to pick these up before they go Legacy. The other item, however, is much more popular, and that is Warrior's Tale. This is something that only works because tattoos exist, and as a result, it's not something that's going to exist in the future. 100% increased effective tattoos in a medium radius for a dual slot is very, very strong. This item has already tripled in price in Ancestor League, and it was already a divine before this announcement. So if you want to get one fast, because I could see this ending up being quite a bit more expensive in the future. So what's been the community response to this announcement? It's been mixed. Really, as I see it, there are 3 most common positions that people hold on this. The first one is people whose attitude is, good, I hated this mechanic, I hated everything about it. The second popular opinion, and I think this may actually be the most popular, is, I got sick of this league mechanic pretty quickly, but the tattoos were fun. They allowed a whole bunch of extra build customization. And then there was a third category, which is closer to my own position, which is people who genuinely like the mechanic and also liked some of the character customization it offered. Personally, I found that the Trials of the Ancestors mechanic was a lot of fun when you didn't optimize around it. But if you did optimize around it, you ended up really quickly sucking all of the fun out of the mechanic. That said, I did definitely really enjoy the effect that tattoos had on just changing some of your decisions when you're making a build. And I think it will be that customization that I'll miss the most when the Trials of the Ancestors mechanic is gone. One thing to note, it's not that it's necessarily gone forever. Grinding Gear Games do tend to find ways to redesign content a little bit in order to fit it into the game in the future, but there's no future plans that are outlined here. Anyways, that is all for day 1 of patch 3.23 teaser season. At least I think we're getting into teaser season now. I'm going to leave it there. May your Varlobs have interesting results, and I will see you around.